Hi everyone, it's Killshot 99 Gaming's The Walking Dead Season 8 second half theories and predictions. This is our Sunday night special. We may toss in a spoiler or two. If we do that, I will let everybody know because we just wanted to have this open so people can kind of throw their thoughts or ideas out there. A lot of things are going to go down, and what we like to do here is talk about how they might go down. So thanks, I appreciate all of you guys being here. A couple announcements we are going to make. I know we missed the Friday night stream, Saturday night stream. There will be no stream tomorrow night, and then we will pick it back up after tonight with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So just kind of stay tuned for that. I see a few people starting to pop in. Thank you so much for that. And who all we got here tonight? I see AJ in the house. I see Scott, Lindsay, Luke. Where are my moderators? Hopefully we get some moderators in here. I think they're out doing a little bit of Christmas shopping. You guys are ready. If you're a Steelers fan, probably not a good afternoon for you. If you're a Patriots fan, you're probably ecstatic right now. What a football game. So let's get right into it. And I'm going to throw a couple of the, do I want to call it, they're not complete spoilers. Let me put it that way. They're teasers, a little bit of what's going to happen, but not the complete play-by-play that we normally get a little bit closer. So what we're going to talk about, I don't want to dwell on too much of last week because I know it was very emotional for a lot of people. And I see a couple comments. Ollie, my weekend was great. So far, so good. But we can't really talk about the second half of the season without talking about episode 9, maybe a little bit of the thought process and the memory of Carl lingering in episode number 10. And the question I'm going to ask everybody is, let me give you 4 options. How about that? When Carl does leave, how do you think he is going to officially make his exit? I got a few things that I want to throw out there as ideas. I don't have a spoiler for that, so this is more of a theory and a prediction. There were some things that I thought were very telling in episode number 8, if you go back and watch it. He wasn't really trying to take out any saviors. Of course, that would be hypocritical if he's talking about making peace and then he guns a couple down, which he didn't. But I got a few ideas that I think might happen in the second half. So E Beach says kills. Is there any chance that he makes it? I don't think so. E Beach, I don't see a scenario where he does. I can still see a scenario where he leaves, maybe. Just doesn't want to be around it. But we'll talk about that. That's one prediction. Wayback Machine says he'll shoot himself. AJ says it'll be Michonne that puts him down. Hey, Julie. Thanks for being here. Amber T, thank you. Glad you got some sound. Sheila says, think he's just going to talk to his dad, just kind of go out. Hey, Carmen, thanks for being here. Appreciate all of you guys being here on a Sunday night. I want to catch him between the end of football and the start of the next one. So Sharon says, I think he's going to get to the point where enough is enough, and he'll end himself. Scott says he'll get Andrea. So, Scott, here's the thing. I'm not far enough into that, but I think Andrea lured a bunch of walkers to a cliff. Is that how that went down? You guys know I'm only on episode number 100, but there's rumors. What's up, Hippo? So I'm listening. I'm listening for theories. Lark says Sadiq will do it. Okay, just reading a few of the ideas here. Well, mine was a little more corny. I mean, you guys have some great ideas. I like them. Maybe he'll lure the walkers away. Yeah, but Donna, the question is, take out saviors with him. Does he really want to do that at this point? I mean, part of what he was really preaching was not to take out any more saviors. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I think I got to see it as a legacy. So I'll give you guys a couple of my corny ideas, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. One thing is something it has to happen with his hat. he dropped it a couple times in the episode, and he picked it back up and put it on. Carl loves that hat. So, I don't know. I feel like something's going to happen where this hat has to become like a memorial or something. They're going to focus on that. Another thing that I think is, could he possibly do something that would help Judith in the future? I don't know what he could do, and this is where I need kind of you guys to sort of help me out with this. But since Judith's not the one to die and it's Carl, is there something that Carl could do, maybe leave something for Judith? Because it's going to have to get a little bit more emotional. AJ says, Enid will take the hat. I like that. You know, and it's also sad that Enid has to be away, and he's not going to get to see Enid before he leaves. That's very unfortunate. Glenda says she believes he'll go out quietly, put him down before he turns. Yeah, I'm reading a couple comments, so if there's just some silence there, you guys, I'm just trying to pick ones that make a little, probably make the most sense. Kill himself was something that I'd put on my list as well. And then the last option was leave. See how long, I mean, he's not turned yet. You know, will he turn around the group? Does he have a couple more days? Is there something he's searching for? There really wasn't enough of a story, I mean, around Sadiq yet with his parents. Are there any loose ends that you think that Carl needs to tie that maybe we've missed? That's kind of where I'm going with this, the question I would ask all of you. Bernadette's not going to live. Lindsay says, leaves Judith this hat with a note inside. Yeah, that's a good point, Amber. I mean, at this point, you could see he exhausted everything he had, you know, to save the group. So it would have to be something, you know, one last run, right? Well, Maggie, the question is, from the preview, are they going to bury him, or is it going to be a more of a symbolic type of grave? I guess that could happen. Yeah, Enid's still clueless. Here's the thing, though. You can see the group. There's not a whole lot of time to wait around, because in all the previews, it wasn't Carl escaping. It was you saw Daryl with Sadiq. We saw Michonne fighting some walkers in the teaser. We saw Rosita fighting some walkers in the teaser. So, which kind of leads me to believe that something's going to happen where Carl's going to kind of go his way, and then the rest of the group is just going to, they got to find an escape. They're not literally out of the woods yet. Now you can see, you know, where that cliche has been created. The grave is in the remains of Alexandria. I mean, Alexandria is still on fire. So most of what we're going to talk about tonight, and now we won't get to kind of the end of the war. I mean, what has happened has happened. I mean, no changing that. We can't undo the bite. Carl's on borrowed time, but the group is still surrounded. They are still in a tunnel, and they've got to find a way to get out. And what we saw in the preview is there's a lot of walkers around there. I mean, the gates have been blown down. There is no safe haven. So they got to get through the woods, and they got probably going to work themselves back to Hilltop. Pete D in the house. I'll get that to one just a couple minutes here. Super chat donations. Pete is he's a regular here, likes to stop in and just say hello. I appreciate that, Pete, as always. Thanks for your support. If Pete ever comes up with a question, we're definitely going to answer it. To the rest of you, anytime you leave a super chat donation, it will highlight just like that, and we will stop whatever we're talking about in the stream, and we'll address your question. But thank you so much. Appreciate that. And it's a pleasure doing the live streams for you guys as well. And we owe Pete about 20 questions. So the sewer leads to a river water station of some type. That's from E Beach. And yes, you can see there is a little bit of a stream or a river that seems to have where a lot of the action is taking place, where we saw Daryl and Sadiq in the teaser. And there's going to be a lot of walkers fighting there. I mean, we saw the challenge that Ezekiel and group went through with Shiva being completely surrounded. Well, imagine that. I mean, this group is trying to go through. They probably got baby Judith. They got whoever is left. How long is Negan going to stay there? Is he going to watch over them? Are they going to give up the search? I mean, all those things are going to have to be taken in consideration. So Flowergert says, kills, will they go back to Alexandria? It's a good question, because it does look like they get away, but I think the background is definitely the church in Alexandria. You can see a little bit of that, and that's probably where we saw, you know, Rick when he was crying with the stained glass. So James Dean Love says, do you think he dies at the beginning of the episode? I don't think so. I think there's going to be, I think it'll be at the end, but I think it'll start at the beginning of it. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to sort of distract him or pull him away and say, this is, you know, he'll stand up and say, no, I'm doing this. It's my show. You guys do this. Carl's going to finish his plan. He's going to do something to take charge. But I do think the end of the episode will pan back to what he did, and it'll be the official ending, and then, you know, and then they'll make it real sad at the end of it, and then he'll be on Talking Dead and talk about what he did to save the group. Because the group is not safe yet. They've only gotten half of the activity done. There's still a lot of saviors out there. They got to trick them, and then there's a lot of walkers. So it's a two-part thing. Raiden Roach says, what's up, Kills? Where were you at the last couple nights? You know what? I take a day off every once in a while. Just had to happen, man. I think it'll be an extended episode. All right, so that's going to be a little bit, let me tell you guys a little bit what we're going to do over the next few nights. So episode 9, we're also going to talk a little bit about episode number 10. We're going to give theories, projections. So you can see we're kind of all over the place with this. We've got, some people are saying it's going to be Carl's dead before it starts. I'm going to disagree. I think, Kel, if that was the case, they would put him on Talking Dead at the end of the mid-season finale. So it's just not going to be about his memory. He's actually going to be a part of the show. It's also going to be the second part of his plan to sort of save everybody and his legacy. Carl has to make his legacy. Keep in mind, he hid this bite from everyone until he could get accomplished what he needed to get accomplished, and then it's finally like, hey, something I got to tell all you guys. very sad mood whenever they went in. But now is the last straw. I guess there's no other way to say it. And we do know he's going to be on Talking Dead. So a couple people said this episode is going to be about him. I don't know if it's going to be. It's the last stand, so I don't know that it's just about him. It's about getting the opportunity. Now, remember, his legacy is to make peace between both groups. But before that happens, and I think that's going to be discovered a little bit later on. So, for example, Carl's letter to... I don't think so, Dean. I don't think there's going to be a Carl's letter to Rick that's going to be a big part of that. I think there has to be more fighting before that happens. So maybe, you know, Carl wants Rick to spare them, and he's going to put the note in his hat, possibly. We do know that in episode number 10, Simon's on the warpath. He's going after the scavengers. There's going to be some fighting. Rick and Jadis will, Rick and Michonne will be around the scavenger area. We also got Ezekiel that has to play out where Morgan's over there. So there's going to be some more death that's going to take place. We know that Tobin is going to die some point in the season. Jared is going to die some point in the season. So it's not just going to be one of those things where Carl dies at the beginning of the episode, Rick reads a letter and says, okay, yep, let me just capture him and that's the way it's going to be. No, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to be more along the lines of Carl has already planned how he's going to communicate this. But he's probably still got to sacrifice himself to get the group free. And then Rick and Negan are going to have that walkie-talkie conversation. So where, like, you know, hey, you did all this. Who's next? And Rick says, you're next. So Rick is going after Negan to kill Negan. So none of this peacekeeping is going to be taken into consideration until later on when Rick does decide not to kill him. So it's like, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. And then he's going to gradually have a change of heart and realize what it is that Carl wants him to do. Now, whether that's flashbacks, whether it's memories, whether he finally gets it, whether someone else's death, or it is the official documentation that he finds from Carl, I think it's going to take place where it's kind of hidden. And then Rick's going to discover it. That's my feeling on that. I'm going to open it up and see a few of your thoughts. So, I mean, to me, that's what makes the most sense, but it doesn't always play out that way. Because, you know, one thing that'll make you stop mourning in a zombie apocalypse is getting attacked by walkers, because all of a sudden your adrenaline kicks in. And that's a little bit of what we saw. We see the group, and they're all dealing with this. You know, you saw the look on Daryl's face, you see Michonne, and then now they got to get out. And then they get surrounded by walkers, now you got to fight. So you don't really have time to sort of miss the person. That's a good question, E. Beach. And you know, probably if we talk about Walking Dead winding down, probably a question for a Tuesday night, because we could really dig into the storyline and some changes and some things, and you know, the way all that's going to happen. What's funny is when you read the comic and the TV show, and you know, kind of where I'm at, sometimes you mix them up, or you're like, where did that happen? So let me use Rick's own line against him. So on the TV show, Rick loses people. Now, Grant, I know it's his son, so I know losing Carl is different. But let me take, well, Daryl. Daryl has a lot of respect for Rick, and Daryl obviously, you know, has feelings and respect for Carl. But in the comic book, Abraham dies, gets an arrow through the eye, and shortly after that in the comic book, and I just read this is why it's fresh in my mind, Rick and Andrea are furthering their relationship, and they're laying there, And they basically said, what's wrong with us? And Rick says something along the lines of, I don't even think about him anymore. I don't miss him. And he's talking about some of the people they lost. And I think it's because the way this whole series is played out, it's the next battle. It's the next battle. There's no doubt that Rick is going to be absolutely crushed. But you also got to realize he's got other emotions that are going to kick in. Revenge, 1. Survival, number 2. And then by the time he gets a chance to mourn, it'll probably all hit him at one time. We as viewers have time to mourn over Carl. The group does not. So Melanie says, if the show isn't following the comics, now it's a greater chance that Rick will kill Negan. I really want Rick to kill the guy. Yes, Melanie, I think it's a good point that there is really no script for it. However, Negan's a pretty popular villain, and to kill your popular villain a couple seasons in, if they were going to kill Negan, I don't think they would have killed Carl. That's my feeling. And I do think that killing Carl, you know, we talked about this ad nauseum last week, that this was a way for them to keep Negan on the show. All right, I'm going to go into episode number 10 as well. I did want to talk about 9 and 10, and we'll have part 2 to this on Wednesday. We're going to do a little bit of random things on Tuesday. We will talk a little Walking Dead, but we got to pick up some other streams that we do. And we're going to get to a point where we're doing Monday through Friday. So as I said, other than tomorrow, you guys are free pretty much playing at 9:30. We're going to be doing these streams and hanging out. We've got well over 100 people here. If you guys could all slap the like button, that would be awesome. And I'm going to get into a little bit of what we talked about. This is kind of semi-spoiler territory because it does roll into episode number 10. And this is how I know that the group is just not dwelling on the death at this point, because they're kind of all over the place. You know, Enid and Aaron are up at Oceanside. We've got Morgan and Carol sort of checking in on Ezekiel with Gavin over there. But it goes full circle, and we got Jadis and the Scavengers in episode number 10. So what we know is that Simon pays the Scavengers a visit, and Simon left Maggie. They're back up Hilltop. Now he's on to stop number 2. And stop number 2 is to really exterminate all of the Scavengers. Jadis does a little bit of double talk, basically says that she was bringing Rick. Simon calls bullshit, says, no, you weren't. He doesn't like the apology. So we know that this is going, in episode number 10, is going to be the end of the Scavengers. And apparently Rick and Michonne have made their way through in episode number 9. Ultimately, I don't know how the group is going to split up. I don't know where Daryl and Sadiq go. They look like they're going to kind of be partners to go take someone out. Michonne and Rick stay together. They go toward the Scavengers, possibly to regroup. Simon has already made a visit, and apparently they Rick observes a little bit of it and yells out something to Jadis like, you caused this. So Rick really has no remorse whatsoever that Jadis just lost all her people, even though they were attempting to help Rick. So it's going to be a real weird narrative. Jared will die this season. Yes. And we will get into that, but it is... no, not correct. So we'll get into that, but it is toward the end of the season. It's either 14 or 15. So Ashley Estrada wants to know how the king dies in the comic. So I haven't read that far, Ashley, and we do have some comic book experts that are in here. but to my knowledge, the Whispers chop off Ezekiel's head and Rosita's head and put them on spikes. So we'll get back to that in 1 second. Northside Queen says, and thank you so much for a super chat donation. This is what happens. If you make a donation, whatever topic, we're all going to discuss this topic. So she wants to know, will Carl's death hit closer to home for Carol and Morgan since they both lost kids as well? It's a good question. Carl is not really, I think, a kid in their eyes. I think Carl is probably, they grew up around him. He's been around for a long time. I don't know that it is going to be, it'll be a little bit more impactful than Glenn, because Carl, I think, signifies, well, you think he signifies innocence, but Carl's a killer. I mean, Carl can carry his own weight, do his own thing. Maybe Morgan. Well, you know, Morgan already had to deal with the death of Benjamin. You know what? I'm going to read a couple comments here. I have to process this a little bit. So, what do you guys think about Northside Queen's question? Maggie says, Carol maybe, but not Morgan. EB says, Carol is going to lose it. Morgan is already out there. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that Morgan can lose it again. Morgan has already lost it. If Morgan didn't have to deal with the death of Benjamin, I mean, Morgan's still wearing shoulder pads. Then I would say it would hit him a little bit harder. You kind of stumped me with a little bit, but I agree. I think Carol. But this is where I do think that whatever Carl's wishes are, this group is going to honor him. And the sad thing is, what would be nice if Carl just wrote a letter and said, just kill that sumbitch, and then they would all be like, yeah, that's what Carl wants us to do. Carl's going to create something that's just a little bit hard for the group, because they want to go out and they want to kill all these saviors, and Carl doesn't want them to do it. So it's going to be a very tough to restrain themselves. AJ says, I think it'll hurt Carol more. She helped raise him. Yeah, that's a good point. Morgan already dealt with Dwayne, already dealt with Benjamin, so hopefully, let's see, James Dean Love says, hopefully Morgan can help Rick not have a breakdown. There is a Morgan-Rick scene later on in the season, and we'll get to that in about a week or so when we're talking about like episode 13 or 14. But yeah, Morgan and Rick will partner before the end of the season and take out some saviors. And I think that will be the episode where Jared dies. I think Morgan will kill Jared toward the end of the season. Westwick, he will. Morgan will have knowledge of Carl's death because Rick and Morgan do meet back up. So we're going to wind the stream down very soon, but I have a kind of a hypothetical question for the group, because we've got so many different things that we think are going to happen. So this is what I want you to do. You can't pick Carl. We're going to play just a little game. It's going to take a couple minutes. So everybody's in the stream. You all have to do me one favor. Of all the characters living, pick a character for you to be. Could be your favorite character. And just type it in chat right now. So it's got to be somebody that is still alive on the show. You want to be Carol? Be Carol. You want to be Rick? Be Rick. You want to be Michonne? Be Michonne. Just pick somebody And I'm going to walk you through a scenario, and we're going to see how this would play out. So I want to know, can't pick two, you get to pick one person only. Carol, Ezekiel, whoever. All right, Lindsay Luke is going to be Daryl. JB is going to be Carol. It can't be Shane. Julie is going to be Carol. All right, so we have our favorites. Scott's going to be Judith. You're not going to be a whole lot of help, though. E. Beach would be Negan. All right, so we got Carol, we got Daryl, we got Maggie. AJ would be Maggie. Dean is going to be Aaron. Angela would be Tara. Okay. All right, those of you that said Negan, you can't participate. You can listen, but you can't participate. So people are still typing. How many of those of you who are not Negan and pick somebody still alive want your character to kill Negan? So if you picked your Carol and you see Carl over here and you want to kill all the saviors, just type a yes or a Y if you want to be that character and you want that character to go kill saviors and kill Negan. And just until you get rid of all the bad people. So we're going to get some yeses. Because some of those that are Daryl, they're going to be like, I'm going to kill a son of a bitch. And then Carol, I mean, so look, you'll see. You're going to see these people as characters. They're like, yeah, I need to go help the storyline. I need to end this war, right? We got guns a-blazing. So a lot of people are saying yes. Okay. Tommy's saying abso-friggin-lutely. All right, now I'm going to make it tough for all of you. Now you have to play that character, and you have a mission, which is to go kill Negan. And Carl, last breath, his last wish, asks you to find a different way to do it. And said, honor my last wish. Don't kill him. Find a way for peace. Now I need to know what all of you are going to do. You going to go kill Negan? Now you're Carol. You got to hit the pause button a little bit. Now you're Daryl. You got to hit the pause button a little bit. Because it's just not about that rage and that vengeance any longer. So Brian McAndrew, first person type, says, that would be tough. You just put me in a rough dilemma. I was ready. So I got you guys playing the role of your character. You're just balls to the wall. You're ready to go execute all the saviors. And then I just threw a wrench in your plans. So now Valar's saying, I got to honor his wish. AJ says, lock him up. Take him prisoner. So now less people are killing him because now you kill him. You have to live. Garrett, I have no problem with that. You're honest. Garrett said, you know what? I would still kill Negan. But the problem with that is now all these people that were going to honor his dying wish, you just pissed your whole group off. So now you made it twice as bad. What are you going to do? You can walk back with Negan's head, hey guys, I ended this thing. That really wasn't what we were trying to do here. Now you became public enemy number one. This is what I want you to think about, and this is where a lot of people are now saying, I'm going to honor Carl's wish. This is why the story is the way the story is. And sometimes it just takes a little bit longer to sort of play it out in our heads in order to understand it. I don't want to be Daryl. And look, Daryl's already went out and done his own thing once. If Carl says no and you go out and do it, I would not want to be Daryl. Then you might actually see Rick's wrath. Ashley Estrada, thank you so much for a super chat donation. Ashley, do you have a question, or was that just because it was a cool game? If so, you know what? We can do hypothetical role plays and sort of get into the psychology of The Walking Dead. And I do think there is some psychology, because I know Gimple wasn't the most popular person. I know he's got to sign off on this. I'm pretty sure he didn't write the episode, but there were people behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, he had to sign his name on it and said, yep, this is what we're going with. And this is the moral dilemma that it happens on The Walking Dead. It always puts us in that situation where there is no right or wrong. There's just changes. The landscape just constantly changes. All right, we're going to wind this thing down. We like to keep these Sunday night streams. Hold on one second. Okay. I just want to make sure. Our question didn't show up. Hold on, I'm not going to end this stream yet. I'm going to try to find Ashley's question. You guys help me out. Oh, here we go. All right, I got it. Do you think Morgan will feel bad because he told Rick his son will die? I think Morgan feels bad for Rick because Morgan's went through it, and I think there's just a mutual respect between Rick and Morgan. But I also think that there's going to be a little bit of vengeance. Rick's going to need to unleash some of that vengeance at some point, but then he's going to have to sort of come back to earth and find a different way to do it. So I don't know that that's going to change Morgan. Morgan wants to kill Jared, but there's other things that are in play as well. But he's going to get the chance. I'm predicting it. I'm telling you, Morgan is going to put the finishing blow on Jared. Maggie says, some will be able to follow Carl's wishes. Some may never be okay with it and will break off from Rick. And that really is what's going to... This group has had times where it's a very strong group, and then it's been very fractured, and they wanted to go in different directions. So they are all going to have to find a way to exist. And you could already see that. You've got... The one thing that was kind of cool is Maggie was peaceful, and then Maggie's becoming like a killer now. She needs to. She's going to do what's necessary. So Maggie's probably the one that is level-headed. Rick's back and forth, right? Sad-eye Rick and then tough Rick. Extreme Rick and then bow to Negan Rick. Doing, seems like Rick has been a step behind in a lot of cases. But people still look up to Rick for leadership. Daryl, Daryl just goes on a whim. Tara's very vengeful. So you got all these characters in play. Locking up Negan when there's people that want Negan dead. Even Dwight is going to want Negan dead. Is going to be a very unpopular decision. And maybe the only thing that can bring them all back together is a Whisper War. Because there's just going to be a lot of civil war in between them. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here on a Sunday night. We will do this again on Tuesday, so if you guys are all free at 9 o'clock, actually 9:30 during the week. We do the 8 o'clock stream on Sunday nights, and then 9:30, push it back just a little bit later. We're going to kind of continue a little bit of the predictions, the theories. We're going to dig down a little bit further. Maybe some more of these psychological type of games that we get into and just sort of figure out what would we do if we were in that role. And I think a lot of these meetings where they're doing the writings is they're analyzing that. How would the viewers react to things, and what would you do if you were in that situation? So thank you so much. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. I want to give a few shout-outs. I try to get through as many as I can. If I miss you in a shout-out, I'll definitely catch you in the next one. So if you guys want to shout out, just leave a quick 999, and I will see you all on Tuesday night. And if you're just tuning in or watching the playback, this is just the closing credits. Darko77, Paul Phelps, thanks for being here. Angela McMillan, thank you. Scott Kernan, good to see you again. Appreciate you being here. Good insight tonight, Sheila Beasley. Thank you. Shani D, a.k.a. Little Michonne. Patricia Bradley. The Stupid Idiot. That is his name. Sorry. Not calling him that. There's your shout out. eBeat72, thanks for being here. Garrett Farmer, Lindsay Luke, thank you. Kapow Kapow. There's your shout out. Some of these names make me sound insane when I'm calling them out. People probably listen to playback and hear me say Kapow Kapow. Yes. Kathleen Osterholt, thank you for being here. Kristen McBride, Raiden Roach. Dwayne Sharp, Westwick 88. The Lions are still alive. You better believe it. They're not going down without a fight. Just hooping. What's up? DS. The Hippo. What's up? OU Crawfish. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. John Vaporis. Ashley Estrada. Thank you. And Super Chat donations. Northside Queen. Thank you. Ashley as well. And also my man Pete D that just pops in and makes Super Chat donations. Thank you so much, Pete, as well. Amber T. What's up? Hey. What's going on? Jake Gunter. Good to see you. Sharon Bonacorda. Maggie Bonacorda. Appreciate both of you being here. Michelle Wolf. Michelle Wolf says, Kills, have a great one. Can you quote Daryl again? I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. That's my favorite Daryl line. But he's not. He's not going to kill Dwight. Linda Batista, thank you so much. Also to all my moderators, Tommy, the sweet-ass enforcer McCandless, Emmy Desiree Bacon, Kelsa Smile, Steph the Cuervo Queen, and also Dark Angel. Thank you so much. Appreciate everything that they do. They work really hard for this channel. So, Raymond Rush. Thank you, Raymond. Late Night, good to see you. Lark Song, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, everybody. AJ Jepson, I see you. Thank you so much, AJ. Almost missed you. Who else we got? Michelle, I'll just record it and then just use it as a ringtone. So anybody calls, it'll just be like, I want to talk to that son of a bitch. I'll customize it for you. See? That's what we do. That'll be your official kill shot ringtone. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate everything, and I will talk to you all Tuesday night. Peace.